Welcome back to Trail Ambassador Training. You're probably wondering now about program logistics, like what equipment you'll be using and where to get it. This next video will cover that topic. We'll also talk a bit about safety for you, the volunteer, as you go through your day of service. Organizational variations. Whether you're volunteering as an on-trail ambassador or a trailhead ambassador, every program is going to have its own way of doing things. Your program coordinator will connect with you about what equipment you'll be using, when and where to pick it up, who else you'll be volunteering with, and anything else you'll need to know for the day. Having a good volunteer experience. Come prepared for the day by making sure you check the weather forecast and bringing adequate layers and rain gear. A thermos full of tea or coffee can be a real treat during a cold morning. Volunteer safety. Your physical and emotional safety is your organization's #1 priority. If you don't feel safe or welcome, you won't be able to help anyone else feel safe and welcome. We recognize that not everyone feels safe in the outdoors due to racism, bias, and hate. Trail Ambassador programming aims to change that by being a positive presence, promoting safety of yourself, fellow visitors, and these special places. As an ambassador, here's how we'll mitigate risk during this volunteer experience. Communications. Good communication is the first step in a safe experience. Your program will train you in the specific communications procedures that you'll need to follow during your service. Communications planning. If something happens, there will be methods and processes in place to help you. Familiarize yourself with your organization's specific plan, but at a minimum, be sure to have on-hand contact information for 911, local sheriff, your volunteer coordinator, land agency contact, Forest Service, state parks, etc. In case of an emergency, it's always useful to have the latitude-longitude of your site and trail on hand for reference when talking to emergency response. What if you don't have cell service? If you're volunteering on Forest Service land, FS radios might be available to you. Other forms of communication can include GPS devices such as a Garmin, InReach, or others. Other methods of non-cell phone communications will be provided to you based on your program's resources. Remember, the best way to be prepared for an emergency or other immediate needs is to have a plan in place. Talk to your program coordinator for more information on emergency communications planning. Emergency response protocol. Sometimes emergencies happen. Having a thoughtful plan for how to respond is important. You should call 911 if you see someone engaging in illegal behavior, like breaking into cars, or if you witness someone having a medical emergency. If you do see someone engaging in illegal behavior, do not approach them or engage with them in any way. First aid. Regardless if your program requires you to have any first aid training as a volunteer, Oregon has Good Samaritan laws in place that protect those who offer help to those in need. In any emergency situations, remember to never provide care beyond what you've been trained to do and never do anything you're not comfortable doing. Your program will let you know if they require any first aid training as a volunteer. In any situation, remember to never try to do anything you haven't been trained to do and never try to do anything that is outside your comfort level. COVID-19. COVID-19 has presented a real challenge for volunteers who engage with the general public. Guidelines and requirements can change frequently, but here are the basics you should be prepared for if you're volunteering in a COVID-19 environment. Before you head out for the day, be sure to monitor your own health. If you begin to feel ill or under the weather at all, please don't volunteer. Let your volunteer coordinator know you will need to reschedule for a different day. Regulations are constantly shifting and changing, but we recommend at a minimum that you bring a face mask and have some hand sanitizer or disinfecting wipes handy. Wear your mask if you're within 6 feet of other people. After your shift. After your shift, be sure to wash or sanitize your hands. We also recommend wiping down all the surfaces that you or others have touched during your shift. The days after your shift, keep an eye on how you're feeling. If you start to feel sick with any COVID symptoms, please get tested. If you have a positive test, please notify your volunteer coordinator as soon as possible, and please be prepared to participate in contact tracing. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we'll talk about sharing stewardship with others.